Nkiru was the kind of woman people trusted without thinking twice. In the village of Umoka, where the red earth stained feet and truth was supposed to stain the heart, her name was spoken with respect. She was beautiful in a calm, reassuring way, always wrapped in clean, colorful African fabrics, her hair ties neatly arranged as if her life itself was always in order. Her smile was soft, her greetings gentle, and her words carefully chosen to soothe. Children ran to her, elders praised her, and strangers felt safe the moment she spoke. To the eyes of Umoka, Nkiru was goodness made flesh, the example mothers pointed at when correcting stubborn daughters, the name elders mentioned when speaking of virtue. But goodness, when rehearsed and perfected, can become a weapon sharper than any blade. Umoka was not a rich village, but it was a content one. Palm trees stood tall like silent guards watching over the land, their fronds dancing lazily in the wind. Mud houses lined the narrow paths, some cracked by age, others newly repaired by hopeful hands. At dawn, the sound of pestles hitting mortars echoed like village music, mixing with rooster cries and early laughter. Smoke rose gently from cooking fires, carrying the smell of yam, pepper, and palm oil. People believed that hard work, respect for tradition, and kindness were enough to keep evil far away. They did not know that sometimes evil does not fight tradition. Sometimes it hides inside it, wears it proudly, and speaks its language fluently. Nkiru lived alone in a neat compound close to the village square. Her walls were freshly swept every morning, her doorway always open. She rose before the cock crowed, swept her surroundings, fetched water for elderly neighbors, and offered food whenever she cooked. Widows praised her generosity and often prayed aloud for her blessings to increase. Men admired her discipline and said she was the kind of woman any man would be lucky to have. Women wished their daughters would grow to be like her, gentle, respectful, and hardworking. Every festival, she donated more than anyone else. Every funeral, she cried louder than the bereaved. Every prayer gathering, her voice was the sweetest and most emotional. What no one noticed was how carefully everything was calculated. Nkiru did not help because she loved people. She helped because helping opened doors. Each favor brought her access to secrets, weaknesses, and private struggles. Each smile was an investment she expected to pay her back with interest. Each act of kindness was a seed planted for harvest she alone planned to reap. She listened more than she spoke, storing information the way farmers stored yams, waiting for the right season to use them. In her heart lived a deep bitterness that never slept. Life had not turned out the way she imagined when she was younger. She had dreamed of wealth, influence, and a life where people bowed not because she was kind, but because she was powerful. Instead, she watched others move ahead while she remained admired but empty. She believed she deserved more than smiles and praise. She wanted control. She wanted influence. She wanted to decide who rose and who fell, who prospered and who begged. When Obina's fortune changed, Nkiru noticed immediately. His yams grew large and healthy. His cassava multiplied beyond expectation, and his palm trees produced oil in abundance. His barns filled until there was barely space left, and people began to speak his name with admiration. Instead of pride, Obina showed gratitude. He shared food with neighbors, helped others repair their farms, and contributed generously to village projects. He spoke of patience, hard work, and gratitude to the ancestors. People celebrated him as proof that integrity still mattered. Nkiru smiled at him often. Inside her, something twisted painfully. She began to visit Obina regularly, bringing soup, offering advice, praising his discipline, and encouraging him to continue helping others. Obina welcomed her without suspicion. To him, Nkiru was simply another kind neighbor, a woman the village trusted. He did not see the way her eyes lingered on his bands, counting silently. He did not notice the way her smile tightened when people praised him more than they praised her. Mama Oche, an elderly woman bent with age but sharp in spirit, noticed. Mama Oche had lived long enough to know that not all smiles came from joy. Her back was bent, her hair grey, and her walking slow, but her mind was clear and observant. She watched Nkiru's movements, the timing of her visits, the way misfortune often followed places Nkiru left. She noticed how arguments erupted after friendly gatherings, how sickness appeared where laughter once lived. Her eyes missed nothing, but her wisdom told her to wait. Truth, she believed, always reveals itself when given time and patience. At night, while Umoka slept, Nkiru became someone else. She left her clean compound quietly and walked paths no one else dared to take. In hidden places where the moonlight struggled to reach and the air felt heavy, she whispered words taught by bitterness and envy. She offered sacrifices not out of faith, but out of hunger. She asked not for wisdom or peace, but for dominance. Each ritual fed her belief that kindness was only useful when it covered cruelty, that mercy was for the weak and deception for the wise. Her power grew, but so did her dissatisfaction. The more she gained, the more she wanted. Every success around her felt like an insult, every joyful household a reminder of what she believed was stolen from her. Adaize, a young woman known for her bold tongue and clear eyes, began to sense that something was wrong. Adaize did not fear asking questions, even when elders frowned. She noticed patterns others ignored. Whenever Nkiru became deeply involved in someone's life, trouble followed. A sudden sickness, a failed trade, a marriage filled with unexpected quarrels. Too many coincidences gathered around one smiling face. When Adaize mentioned it to others, they laughed. "How can Nkiru be evil?" they asked. "She is the nicest woman here. She helps everyone." But Adaize trusted her instincts. One evening, she sat with Mama Oche under the moonlight, the air cool and quiet, and spoke carefully. "Kindness that leaves destruction behind is not kindness," she said. Mama Oche nodded slowly, tapping her walking stick on the ground. "Evil that shouts is easy to avoid, but evil that kneels and smiles will enter your house, eat your food, and sleep on your mat." Not long after, Obina fell ill. It started as weakness, a tiredness that refused to leave. Then fever followed, burning him from within. Then pain that medicine could not explain spread through his body. His strength drained away like water from a broken pot. The more he suffered, the more Nkiru appeared. She cooked, cleaned, washed his clothes, and cried loudly beside his bed. She scolded anyone who doubted her devotion and accused them of wickedness. The village praised her again, calling her a model of compassion. Adaize watched silently, fear growing in her chest. Mama Oche sent for Dibia Okore, the respected traditional priest, whose words carried both spiritual and moral weight. When he arrived, his presence alone made the village uneasy. His grey beard framed a face hardened by truth, his eyes deep and serious. He spoke little, listened much, and moved with deliberate calm. After consulting the spirits, Dibia Okore spoke with a voice that silenced even the birds resting on the trees. This sickness, he said, was invited. Fear spread like wildfire through Umoka. Mothers pulled their children closer. Men shifted uneasily. Under the sacred Iroko tree, the villagers gathered as truth unfolded. Dibia Okore revealed what the spirits showed him. A woman among them wore goodness like clothing, but carried darkness in her blood. A woman whose kindness was a doorway to harm. As the truth poured out, Nkiru's carefully built mask began to crack. Her tears no longer convinced. Her voice shook not with sorrow, but with fear. The spirits exposed her rituals, her jealousy, and her hunger for control. The village watched in disbelief as the woman they adored stood revealed, small and stripped of pretense. When Nkiru's power collapsed, Obinna slowly recovered. His strength returned, his eyes cleared, and life flowed back into his body. Gratitude filled his heart, but caution followed closely behind. The elders chose banishment over death. Nkiru was sent away from Umoka, stripped of the attention and admiration she fed on. No one escorted her with songs or tears. As she walked away alone, her smile finally vanished, leaving only the emptiness she had hidden for years. Life in Umoka returned to calm, but wisdom remained like a scar that teaches without speaking. Elders taught the children that not all nice hands mean good hearts, not all soft voices speak truth, and that character reveals itself with time. They learned that evil does not always roar or threaten or carry a frightening face. Sometimes it works nice.